Is the Puma Court Rider 2.0 worth the $100 retail price? I mean, Puma's been killing the basketball scene. Let's dive in. Welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the different performance aspects like cushion, traction, support, and more. But before we get into that, I'll go ahead and knock out some of the basic info first. So like I just said, the Court Rider 2.0 is going to be retailing for the low price of $100. I get that's low for some, maybe not to others, but in general, that is going to be on the lower side of the scale for basketball shoes. But now getting into more the model itself, this is just, one of the basic sort of like unisex shoes that come out of Puma's brand. It's not like a signature shoe line like the LaMelo MB2 or anything like that, but honestly, now that I think about it, this is the cheapest shoe that I played in from Puma. Like the Clyde All Pro, Fusion Nitro, TRC Blaze Court. I think all those models have been at least like 110 to 120 plus, but with these being a little bit cheaper, they also aren't going to be like super flashy as far as the actual features on the shoe go. The Court Rider is going to have this kind of weird rise to the midsole in the front with that Puma logo just stamped just above that with like the choppy lines in there, but it's going to be a pretty simple look from the front with their with that Puma logo again on the tongue. Then you're going to get a camo pattern that covers the upper. I hate camo, to be honest. I did not look at this colorway close enough at all before I got them, but I mean, the heel color throws everything off too with that maroon. But the design itself, I still think it looks pretty nice. And Puma, a lot of Puma basketball shoes tend to look the same to me, or there's at least a lot of similarities, but that's not a bad thing. Like in general, I think Puma does a really good job, or does a solid job at just designing the look for the shoes. But now let's go and see how the Puma Court Rider 2.0 plays on the court. So now looking at more of the tech specs and the performance side, we'll start off with the cushioning first. So this is where a shoe can kind of start to tell on itself a little bit. Puma uses a lot of like Pro Foam Plus or Nitro, different stuff like that. But this Puma Court Rider is going to get, well, I guess what you might expect, some Rider foam in the midsole that's engineered for basketball. So that's a good sign. Engineered for basketball, we're definitely on the right track. But, Puma straight up has done a really great job handling a few different categories, like performance categories across all their shoes. Like, traction seems to be great on all their models just across the board. But cushioning is another spot that most of their shoes are top tier or at least close. And at $100 for retail, that can sometimes be like a limiting factor on how soft the model will play. And comparatively, I'd like to say that you don't get a lot of softness. The softness isn't going to stack up to like, the Mellow Ball 2 or the Fusion Nitro, something like that. Some of the just, they're newer models. But I mean, honestly, at the same time, these still give you that nice top layer that isn't going to be stiff at all. I would still expect some break-in time, but I'd say they almost feel like a lower profile TRC Blaze Court. The cushioning is still going to be balanced though, not really lacking anywhere at the same time. And then using our durometer to check out the midsole, these were reading at a 37.5, and that's about like where the number kind of settles anyways, but like it's slightly softer than the average, but this is Rider foam, and using that foam material normally like in the midsole, that's normally going to bring that number down. So honestly, I wasn't really surprised to see that. So I mean, like I said, the cushioning, it's not going to be the softest to come out of their lines, but at the same time, it is the cheapest that I've played in, and they feel a lot better than other shoes kind of in this price range. So I did like that. So now getting into more of the materials and the support, the upper on the Court Rider 2.0 is mostly going to be made out of like some lightweight textiles, but I actually want to start there because Puma makes some lighter basketball shoes, and this actually feels like a super light model, like in hand, and like on your foot. But the scale kind of says otherwise. Like these are going to lean more on the average to slightly heavier side for a low top model with a size 10.5 weighing 448 grams. Now, I mean, that's nowhere near actually being heavy, but at the same time, this is a very low profile shoe, and lower shoes tend to be closer to like 400 grams or below, just on average. But, it's still not actually going to be a problem. But the tongue portion of the shoe is going to like be more of a mesh type feel, which allows for better airflow to your foot. And this is like a low top shoe. With this being such a low top shoe, you're still going to get some nice support features. And the first of them that I'm going to point you to is going to be this little strap, or the little straps that you kind of see on the upper. And if you look at the lacing system, all of those laces are kind of feeding through these overlays that serve as medial and lateral forefoot straps. And you can like actually visually see them at work when you're lacing these shoes up. But on the court, those straps are kind of there to help with your side to side cuts, just making sure your foot doesn't slide out from the side of the foot. And then that little spike that's actually there on the midsole helps a little bit with your lateral containment too. But I mean, I think the heel shape also is going to be like another benefit just to help keep your foot more locked in. I was a little bit nervous, honestly, about like heel movement on this model with them being as low as they are. But I mean, honestly, nothing to worry about there from what I felt. So aside from these weighing, you know, a few grams more than I would have expected, honestly, no complaints. So wrapping it up with the traction and taking a look at the pattern first, this is going to get a full coverage Puma rubber outsole made for enhanced durability and traction. And sometimes Puma uses like some random patterns. These are going to have more of an organized setup with some like, you know, thick grooves too. And I hinted at this earlier a little bit, but Puma has been like crushing it whenever it comes to traction on pretty much all of their shoes. They've been using in general, they've been using this non-slip like rubber compound that's just been playing amazing for me. But this is actually a little bit of a different look and feel. And I want to say the material feels a little bit softer than the rubber that they typically use. But honestly, I was a little bit nervous about the durability at first for the Court Rider because of that. But the grooves are like Ford F-250 tire stick. All right, that's a lie. They're not that thick, but they are deep though. And that's definitely going to help for your outdoor use, but they're going to like bite the floor crazy indoors too. But doing our squeak test, they honestly didn't like give us as much as we thought, but that's more so because this foam-like material just doesn't squeak as much. Jeez. But we notice that a lot whenever we play in Curry's line too, because they use that UA flow foam, kind of consistent. Not a lot of noise coming from that either. But the traction is going to be the strongest part in this model for sure. But Puma's no stranger to having their shoes play like that. But now to finish off with the sizing, I did go true to size, and that's pretty much a perfect fit for me. I'd say they maybe run slightly narrow, but I mean, as far as the length goes, you're going to get like half a thumb's width left over at the end. So if you like extra space to play in, or you just have like wider feet, I'd probably test out going a half size up. But overall, the Puma Court Rider 2.0 gives you some things to like for sure. Like the cushion's about the only thing on this model that's average, and even then it's a touch above that. But like the support and the traction, they play super nice. Not a lot of stuff to poke holes in here. So are these shoes worth the $100 retail price? No doubt. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. Feel free to throw us a follow or a sub if you like this video. And if you're interested in buying these shoes and you want to support our channel, just click the link here on screen, or we have links down below or in our bio. Feel free to check those out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.